If there's one thing that I have been made sure of in recent days, it's that I was created to create. I remember when I was in kindergarten, I went to a private school where we had a kindergarten graduation. And I remember we were singing a song, as you do at the ripe old age of 6, about growing up and moving on to bigger and better things, aka first grade. And I remember while I was singing this song with my kindergarten graduating class that I was moved to the point of tears while singing these words about moving on and getting older. And then I remember in the coming days and the days that followed that graduation, having my eyes well up with tears, even thinking about singing that song. And when I look back on it, that seems like such a silly thing, but as I look a little deeper, I realized that that was the first moment, at least that I remember, that I recognized the power of music to move, that I recognized that I was truly moved by song, by the combination of melody and lyric. And when I was 5 years old, I started playing the piano. I started taking piano lessons. And we moved to a new house pretty shortly after that. And the piano didn't fit inside of our house anymore. And so we had to keep the piano in the garage. And I grew up in Chicago. So having a piano in the garage meant that if I was going to be practicing the piano, it meant that I was either braving the sweltering heat and humidity or the frigid cold to go practice the piano. And I remember one time in the winter getting all done up in my winter clothes and my winter hat and mittens, which you can't play the piano in mittens, and saying to my mom, "Mom, how am I supposed to practice piano like this? Why do we have to have the piano in the garage?" And she, with a smile and a little bit of a chuckle, would say to me, "Oh, Allie, just think of the stories you'll be able to tell later when you're famous," kind of mocking me. She'd say, "You can say, when I was young, the only way I could practice the piano was to put on my mittens and to go outside and play in the piano." And so we used to joke about this all the time, and truly this piano was a treat in a lot of ways. It once had a family of mice living in it. It was, I think, toward the end of its life, it had more keys stuck and unable to play than there were keys that were playable. And it was probably a good half step out of tune. But it was at this piano that I truly, truly discovered the power of music and the power of songwriting, and the collision of story and creativity together. When I was in junior high, I had there was a boy in my class who passed away suddenly of an illness, and I remember at that young age I didn't know how to process that. I didn't know what to do with that, and I knew that there were a lot of emotions and there were a lot of things I was experiencing, and I just didn't know where to put it and what to do with that. And I remember going home and going out to my garage, to my rickety old piano that used to be a home for a family of mice, and sitting down at it and just crying. And the only thing I knew to do was to play. And this was my first songwriting experience. I wrote a song about this boy in my class that had passed away and about his story. And it was healing for me. It was cathartic, and it was powerful. And I remember sharing that song with a few people, and eventually coming to find out that the mother of this boy who had passed away wanted to hear this song. She wanted it for herself. And it was at that moment that I recognized that not only was I created to create, but that I wasn't necessarily created to create in a vacuum, but created to create for the sake of other people as well. And so here I am, almost 15, 16 years after that first songwriting experience, and I am now finally ready to share my creative stories with you. And so I am wanting to put together a full-length album of songs that I've written over the past several years, some more recently and some several years ago that I've just been sitting on for a long time. And my songwriting process hasn't changed from that first time when I was 12, 13 years old and I sat down and wrote that song. Each song that I have written has come from a place of having too much in my heart and mind to know what to do with, and sitting down at the piano and write and my thoughts kind of writing into a song. And so each of these songs are dear to me. Each of these songs are important to me because they share parts and seasons of my story. And so it would be an honor to me to invite you into this part of my story and this part of my journey. And there are a few ways that you can help in this. The first thing that you can do is provide support through prayer and through being a part of this journey. We can send you email updates throughout the process of how things are going, leading up to recording and during recording and post recording, and hopefully when the album is ready to come out. And to get those updates, you can go to alideckardmusic.com and fill out your email information. And I would be so excited to be able to share the steps in the journey with you. The second thing that you can do is provide financial support if that's something that you are able to do. I have a GoFundMe page that you can also access through alideckardmusic.com. And it would be a great honor to me for you to be a part of this journey in that way, and I would be so thankful. And the third thing that you can do is spread the word. If you know someone that you think might be interested in being a part of this in any way, share this video with them, share my GoFundMe page, share my website, and invite them to be a part of it as well. So here's to the story and the journey, and let's do this.